thoughts, input, suggestions for women taking up leadership positions, leadership roles, and any suggestions for organizations to think about what they might want to do about having women in leadership roles?
So I think the most important and very underpinned piece is how do women deal with guilt? It's not spoken about, right? And it is just guilt comes from the fact that you might be a new mother and you are also a living, breathing, ambitious professional. It should never be about and it is never going to be perfect. It's not perfect for anybody, right? You have situations where you lean in towards work. There are times when you have to lean in towards this thing. I think the more we talk about it, it is going to help people navigate that, right? So it should not be a crazy choice of either or. We are today, technology, inclusivity, everything allows us to actually have a bit of leaning in, leaning out into those kind of situations. And that's something I wish happens more. It doesn't happen enough. It needs to happen more. And the second one I keep coming back to the fact that what is traditionally seen as the traditional notion of the fact that you might be, because you come from a certain gender or a certain background, you will be good at that, right? It is something that we will have to, as a corporate world and corporate leaders, we have to open up more. I mean, the portability quotient of any kind of experience or any kind of thought process is very high in today's world. I think the more we resist it, we are at a disadvantage. If you adapt it and you adapt with it and evolve with it, it really helps. It really helps organizations and also teams, becoming better and allows you to think bolder over there. The other underpinning thing, which at least personally I feel is a deterrent, is the mobility. When I mean mobility, not just physical mobility, but the fact that if I have had a very defined kind of a experience or a notion as a corporate in my corporate life, then I try to impose it onto my team member, right? So if I have been a mother of two who's been in a tough sector and I've had to behave a certain way or I've had to take certain calls, that reality might be very different for a team member who's becoming a mom maybe 10 years after I did, right? Because the environment has changed. If I'm going to force that same kind of thought process or this thing, then I'm doing disservice to whatever I've spoken, for example. So I think mobility of moving with your context is the other deterrent that I think mars a lot of us in the corporate life, because we are we are very conditioned. We came in unconditioned, then we form our own conditioning, and then we judge by that conditioning. So it's a trap.
I'm still kind of, because you mentioned guilt and some of your experiences, I can't but ask you, you've had two children and obviously they required special care from you, attention from you, and which would have taken a lot of time and effort, and yet you seem to have managed your work life pretty well, and which included, I understand, considerable amount of travel and staying away from home. So, how has that challenge been for you, and how did you manage to kind of balance out? And what were some of the aiding factors, helping factors to make it simpler for you?
I cannot. There's no other answer to this than the ecosystem, Sudhir. And you have to build an ecosystem. You have to invest in it. And it does come with considerably less amount of sleep. So that's a choice. I totally fundamentally believe you cannot have it all in one point, right? At one point, you have some and don't have that at a given point in time. So everybody figures out a little bit of balance after they burnt their fingers or whatever. I think for me, the simplest investment has been in an ecosystem. So be it family, which stood up when I said that this is exactly what I would love to look at and I would love to do at this point in time. And family has stood up always to say that, okay, we will work around it. I mean, there are times when I've both my children have done a journey from Delhi to Gurgaon so that we could have early dinner together, because I've had some global folks and teen din se roz, I'm by the time I come back home and by the time I leave, I'm not seen them. So the two of them have we planned it like that when I have a break between the presentation and the dinner, let's have early dinner. So it's just one working example of that. Or uh, and many such examples. And I've always had a 5 a.m. friend who's going through a similar thing. So I'll be like, please remind me, why are we doing this? And she's like, dude, because we have purposes which go beyond the obvious. Had a husband who's, I'm like, I want to do this right now, and he's like, okay, I will figure it out. And so many more, like my own father till date, if I tell him and I call him and I say, yeah, I need you right now because I can't take these decisions, or I'm very, he will just show up, right? And then many friends, right? Many male and female friends who like there when you are doubting yourself, or when you are saying that it won't happen, and counsel you, or this thing. So ecosystem ke bina, I don't think it could have been possible. And spoke about guilt. I think over the years I have, because of these people, I have been able to not feel bad about the fact that I've become very good at saying that this is now, that may be then. So right now in this 7 hours, I have to be at my top game as a professional. The next the few hours I have to be there as a mom, or even for myself, for that matter. You can't have it all at one time. You have to you have to work in compartments. I feel that.